Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, hit that notification bell.
So today we're going to talk about the latest episode of Archetypes, Harry and Meghan's latest collaboration, and of course, Meghan showing support for the Iranian women. Let's get to it. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I definitely did not expect to see Paris Hilton as a podcast guest on Archetypes. I mean, and I'm not the only one, judging from the comments on social media. Absolutely no one guessed that Paris would be a guest. But this conversation was incredibly eye-opening. So, one of my most enjoyable aspects of this week's episode is Meghan's admission about her perception of Paris and how it was not negative, but it was deeply linked to the negative stereotype associated with Paris. The dumb, blonde, ditzy, party girl. Meghan, like myself and a lot of other people on social media, according to tweets and posts that I've read today, we mostly like to think of ourselves as very enlightened folk, right? We know that what we see on the news or on social media is almost always not the full story. We know that there are so many different facets to our personalities, but oftentimes when we're thinking about people, even though we are enlightened thinkers, right, and observant people, those deeply ingrained stereotypes can just present itself sort of automatically. Now, I know that women can be smart and girly and sexy and everything under the rainbow, and that can be one woman who has many different sides to her. But when we think about Paris Hilton, I feel like a lot of people had a sort of knee-jerk reaction thinking well, why would Meghan have Paris Hilton on the show? She's like a ditzy blonde, and you think of all the things that we saw Paris do back in the day. Now, one of my favorite quotes from Meghan from this episode is, "There's nothing better, or I think more inspiring, for people to know that even if you're labeled something, it doesn't have to define you forever. And even if you've bought into that label for yourself, you can change your mind." And this makes perfect sense for just about everybody. We all have the opportunity to pivot when necessary and explore different facets of our personality, different interests, to grow and change. And that's a wonderful blessing. One of the things that I love about the Archetypes podcast is just how different the women, the guests on the podcasts are. They're all extremely well-known women who have reached the pinnacle of their success, who are very famous. And you'd think, well, I don't have anything in common with any of these women. Let's go through the list of all the wonderful women from different walks of life and different cultures, working in different fields. And you'd think, I have absolutely nothing in common with these people. What would I have in common with Constance Wu or Serena Williams or Paris Hilton or Mariah Carey? But with each episode, you realize that no matter who you are, no matter the walk of life, no matter your social status or the fatness of your bank account, there are certain things in life that we all experience. And I love how Meghan and the team of this podcast really just forcefully and openly challenges these stereotypes. Also, I love that there are so many moments where the topic of conversation causes me to sort of pause and realize that the way that I perceive certain things and certain people, as much as I think that I'm an open-minded person, is very heavily influenced by media, by social media, by pop culture. And these stereotypes and labels that I think that I'll be able to pick up on are still very deeply ingrained. It causes me to take pause and challenge my viewpoints on certain things. And I think that some of the most amazing conversations tend to do that. This one was very different to anything else. And it's a little bit more lighthearted than the one last week, but it really touched on how layered we all can be, different facets of our personality. And I don't want to go too much into it. If you haven't listened to it, definitely the link will be in the description box below. Don't forget to listen, and also when you're done, don't forget to rate. I love the way that Paris was really raw about her sort of leaning in to the stereotypes that were just like thrown at her. She's like, oh, you're gonna label me this way, and this is how you're gonna see me, so I'm going to lean into that, and I'm going to monetize it. And if I make myself out to be this person or thing that you say that I am, then the not so pleasant aspects of those things that you call me isn't going to hurt me, because at the end of the day, it's a character. It's just a part of me. Like I said, you have to listen to it to really get the nuances and understand how certain people deal with those archetypes, those tropes, those stereotypes. It was surprising and surprisingly enlightening. And I really love that we got to see a different side of Paris. Now, I know for a lot of people, they tend to focus on the things that she's done in the past and, the show that she did with her friend Nicole Richie. But I feel like if you really paid attention to Paris after the early 2000s Paris craze, you would see the way that she has been diligently, smartly, and successfully growing her multi-million-dollar empire. So yeah, I always knew that Paris had a different side, and she's a very smart girl who just loves to lean into the girly girl aspect of who she is. But yeah, this episode was very enjoyable. So again, the link will be in the description box below. Make sure that you give it a listen. Now, just when you think that was it, Harry and Meghan came out with some more goodies. It was revealed earlier today that the city of Uvalde, Archewell Foundation, and Kaboom worked together to unveil a new playground for the kids and families of the Uvalde community. If you don't know, Uvalde recently suffered a huge tragedy. I did a video on that. I'll link it somewhere. Where so many little ones, so many souls were lost to senseless gun violence in the schools. And we know that Meghan visited Uvalde, and of course the UK media turned it into insanity, as they do with all things associated with Harry and Meghan. But she went there, she volunteered, she gave blood, she got in contact with different family members, offered financial assistance, and kept in touch. I remember there was a family member of one of the victims that, would give updates and say, Meghan was so nice, she was so sweet, she contacted us, made sure that we were okay, offered to help us out, and then, he updated us on saying that she got in touch with them again just to see how they were doing, how the kids were doing. And we know that Meghan has a very practical approach when it comes to her philanthropic work, and this is just another example of that. Opening this new playground, which is just something that is so positive and uplifting in a community that has gone through so much. So it was really nice to read this update from the Archewell team, Kaboom, and the city of Uvalde. Well done. Service is universal. And just when you think that was it, Harry and Meghan came in clutch with even more goodies. Well, this one specifically is Meghan. It was revealed that Meghan was invited to speak at Spotify's female-run employee resource group, Women at Spotify, which is an employee-led group that fosters inclusivity and build community. Now, during Meghan's speech, she spoke to two mothers of protesters in Iran. And, I mean, unless you've been living under a rock, then you know what's going on in Iran with the women protesting the death of a 22-year-old. It's so sad. But the women are so brave for protesting the way that they have. Now, later on in the day, photos, or two specific photos of the event, was released by Madonna, who is the president of Archewell. And in it, you can see Meghan wearing a simple black shirt that basically says "Women, Life, Freedom," and it's written in Farsi language. And you can read such a delightful caption by Madonna, showing just how much she admires Meghan. And the caption was, "Women, Life, Freedom. Allies have shown up in so many forms over the past month since the death of Asa. I'm so grateful to work with an incredible woman like Meghan and my fellow Iranian colleague and friend, Ashley, as we continue to highlight the bravery and courage of the women and young girls on the front lines of the most important feminist movements of our lives." So, yeah, our plates have been full with a lot of Harry and Meghan related content, and it's been a good day in Sussex watching community. Now, Meghan talked about her experience working as a briefcase model on the game show Deal or No Deal. Now, we know some in the British press and some really sycophantic royalists love to go on and on as if her working as a model on a game show is something to look down on. But Meghan shared her experience while working there and how it made her feel, and what ultimately led to her leaving the job. Now, she also briefly touched on her time as an intern in Argentina. Now, for those of you who don't know, Meghan is fluent in Spanish, and that is because she interned in Argentina during her college years. So yeah, very interesting stuff.